Greg Slater with Nest Realty. I'm here with Jim Duncan of Nest Realty. You may have seen us talk about the market before. It's January of 2026. And Jim, this time I thought we'd just talk about a quick look back at our personal 2025s.
It was a fun year. 25 was a bit of a, I think you used the word earlier, a roller coaster. I mean, we started off at one point, the market really picked up for me. My clients had some reasonable successes. There are one or two in the early part of the year before the market really shifted that they did very, very well as sellers. I helped a lot of buyers get into homes that hopefully they'll be in for 7 to 20 years apiece. It was a good year. I learned a lot. It was my 24th year in real estate. This is my 25th year. So I think it's something that I wrote my note, published it this morning. You know, it's something that for 25 years I've been doing the same thing, but thankfully for my ADD, every single day and every single client, every single person, every single market is very different. And I think this is the entering 2026 is probably one of the weirdest markets I've seen, because there are so many dynamics both within the Charlottesville Albemarle locality as well as Waynesboro, Augusta, where I'm shifting some to now, to the macro economic stuff is bizarre, and it's makes every day fascinating.
These are very interesting times. I often rely on experience to figure out how to handle things. For me personally, it was a good year. I like to tell people considering hiring me, I'm not trying to be everything to everyone anymore. I'm trying to find the right fit in clients and properties to market that I'm good at. I often say if I, after an interview, I'm not the right person for the job, I'll help you find the right person for the job. So I had another solid year. I've a few milestones in my life that keep coming up. Is this year I'll celebrate 30 years in this industry. It was in June will be 30 years since I moved to Charlottesville just to get into this industry. It's a very young man with no idea what I was getting into. Mm-hmm. I finished 4 years of serving the Carr Foundation, which was very rewarding, getting that organization up and running, so we can continue the conversation about affordable housing. Yeah, and I met some great people, and we had some great successes selling real estate. Yeah. How about on the personal side? Anything you might bring up not related to the industry?
I mean, I kind of relate everything to the industry. Well, you know, but I mean, I've got my older daughter's 31 in Waynesboro, and she has two kids. So my wife and I have 2 grandkids. My younger one's about to graduate college. My wife and I have been together for almost 30 years. So yeah, it's, you know, again, I say everything's relate to it, but you know, I tell my clients that having a mom who still lives nearby that I help care for, my grandkids are close, so we help my daughter out. Like all these things are the conversations that my clients have. Like I look at my clients with young kids, and if they don't have a support structure around them, I don't know how they do it. And so I'm seeing a lot of my clients, the parents are chasing the grandkids. And I had one last year, 2 years ago. This one still really sticks with me. And I had the seller and the buyers of the home lived in the neighborhood. And I don't know if it was the parents and the kids or the kids alone, but they bought my client's house because they ran the numbers. It was less expensive to buy a $400,000 house than it was to have 2 kids in childcare. So the parents moved to the area to be the caretakers for the kids, which that's kind of the thing that I love being a part of, is just seeing lives coalesce.
There's no doubt. I ask that question because more and more at this stage of my career, I find my personal life experiences relating to all of those scenarios we come across when we walk into people's households. You know, for me personally, these milestones of life lead me to be more retrospective. And so 24 years of marriage this year. So what do you start thinking about? Oh, I might make it to 25. Hopefully we will. My son turned 21. Yeah. You know, it's amazing how fast college goes by when these kids are out of your house. He's only got 3 semesters left at this point, and it feels like we just moved him into the dorms.
But I'll tell you what, we're almost sort of empty nesters. We see the grandkids a few times a week, but empty nesting's not bad.
Empty nesting is not bad. I agree. But you know, it's that growth we all experience as parents and human beings. And so when you couple that with all the real estate experience and your personal life experience, I think that's just why this job is so entertaining and challenging and rewarding.
And I think that we're both lucky, and we've done this for forever. And we're both very seasoned veterans in this industry now.
We really are.
It's fun. I think we're both lucky and privileged to I genuinely wake up 6.8 days out of the week loving what I do. And I don't think that many people have that privilege. And I'm lucky every day. And it's really that simple. That said,
What do you want to talk about? The real estate market?
yeah.
Well, my high level analysis of the real estate market is basically about trends. For the last 2 years, we've listed more homes than we did the year before. So we're trending in the right direction. We're a long way. We're still, if we start looking at 5-year averages, we're still behind the 5-year ad. We're not doing what we were doing before the pandemic, but we're heading in the right direction. Same with contracts. We're 4 years in a row where contractual activity is growing, but we haven't caught up year over year. So it's still a little less than last year, but it was less than we were the year before. And so we're trying to get back to that break-even point and then hopefully grow beyond that. It could happen this year. I'm seeing downward pressure on median prices and downward pressure. What's hard is trying to figure out if that downward pressure is slowing appreciation or reversing it. It's going to vary across different segments of the market and locations. I follow new home sales, and one of the trends we learned back during the Great Recession as things got less and less affordable, the geography of where people were shopping grew, and that's definitely happening again. And all you have to do is follow the home builders. Albemarle County year over year did 22% less new home transactions. But if you look at the entire area, including Fluvanna and Greene, it's plus 20%. Greene County and Fluvanna both have communities with price points that are literally changing the median prices for the overall market because the builders are achieving price points they hadn't in years. There was a 153% increase in new home sales year over year in Greene County.
What do you mean by the builders have realized prices they haven't seen in years?
Well, the land, particularly as all of the development and the opportunity we had in Albemarle County, the lot prices have continued to rise. The cost of development has continued to rise, and the cost of construction went crazy during the pandemic. So we just watched new homes drag the rest of the market up. That's responsible for a tremendous percentage of the resale appreciation we experienced. Of course, contracting supplies obviously contributed. But when you get outside of Albemarle County, and we can talk about Creekside and Greene County, people probably don't realize this, there's 1,200 lots there. Yeah. And there are two builders with multiple models selling 30 homes a month on average. And the prices start in the 3s and top out and get into the 4s. I'm not sure they're even making many sales. There was another community in Albemarle County we've been waiting for a very, very long time. Phase 2 of Urbana Village should have been built 3 years ago. Yeah. It just started in the fourth quarter of 2025, and there again, new construction in the 400s, and they just rolled 30 or 40 sales right out of the gates for people waiting to buy in there. And so sometimes new construction gives us clues into what's going on because they're trying to find the bleeding edge of demand, and where the builders are going can often tell you where the market is going. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I think that a lot of my focus, every year, but this year in particular is being much more stringent with the data. When I do my market analyses, I tend to do sort of a 3-pronged approach. I've got 3 methods I use, one spreadsheet and one algorithmically driven thing that I use, and then manually. I'm still, I feel like if I'm not looking at it printed up, I'm old. But printing the paper out and handwriting it allows me to better see and feel the data. So when I explain it to my clients, I've dug into what the data is that we're looking at. And I think that one of the things that I really focus on is where the price points are. I mean, looking at 2025, 32% of sales were in the $400,000 to $600,000 price point, which is a significant part of our market. And then you had 13% in 600 to 750, and 14% in the 750 to $1 million, which is my sort of sweet spot, is the sub 1.5 of the market. And I'm also seeing that a lot more people, like when many years ago, people would drive to qualify. We're seeing a lot more of that now. As you mentioned, Greene County, Louisa, Waynesboro and Augusta are really coming into the fore now. So I think that people are looking for, at least my buyer clients from that perspective, they're looking for a community where they can be a part of something. And they're finding that in areas that they might have targeted the city or targeted the urban ring of the county, but they find themselves looking further afield. And sellers, I think that what I'm seeing now, it's January 15th, I think, thereabouts. You work 7 days and the days kind of run together. But I think sellers now, they really need to be mindful of what their active competition is and the pending competition. And when I do my market analyses, and you do this as well, we'll do our November analysis. But then, if I'm activating a listing on 18 January, I'll do another one on the 16th, just to see what our active competition is. For my clients that we talk on the phone, I do this a lot because the $1 million price point doesn't matter to you if you're looking at the 4 to 6. And being mindful of if there are 7 actives and 1 pending, we might need to dial that asking price down. If there are 8 pendings and 2 actives, then we assess how we match up to that price band in this competition, and we might go a little bit higher. But it's really a day by day basis. And the one thing I do on all my analyses is I look at the online stuff, and it's fun to look back, kind of fun, when I look at it, because I put in the email to my clients in October that the Zestimate is X, and then that's it's a static thing in the email. And then you go back and look in 2 months or 3 months how that Zestimate has changed. Those are numbers. The Zestimate, the assessment, the Redfin analysis of the market, those are all algorithmically driven. And those algorithms have not been inside your house yet. I mean, AI is changing that, and the Zillow showcases are changing that. But it's something that we need to look at the data and evaluate each property, because what I have here and what you have on your stuff doesn't matter to that seller you're meeting tomorrow.
It's true. You did a lot to unpack there. You started with talking about how you like spreadsheets. I do too. We're a couple of guys trying to figure out how to trust AI and use AI and prompt AI to do things for us that we otherwise want to do ourselves, because I still want to do it myself, because each year I find different things to analyze to find the answers to the questions my clients are asking me. Yep. And I only do that by putting numbers in a spreadsheet and seeing where they're going and saying, why is that happening? Let me go look at this differently. And that tends to help me develop a strategy uniquely to each client. The pricing conversation, this is what I tell my clients, one of the cliches of our industry is don't choose your agent based on the valuation of the home they give you. Because at the end of the day, the value of the home is set by the market and market conditions and which buyers in the market that may want your home and how much they're willing to pay for it. I tell people, choose the agents that has the experience and expertise that is going to work for you. Because when we get into the process, I'm going to give them a range early on, and that I'm not going to give them my recommended list price till probably the day before we're going to be exposed to the market. Because we can talk about strategies to sell the home before it's fully exposed to the market. There's no history. You can get away with saying numbers when someone maybe gets a free look at the house. Whether or not that's a good strategy needs to be a serious conversation. But once you're exposed to the market, you want to make sure you're positioned to make a match with the best buyer for the home. That's the strategy. How do we find the best buyer for this home? And sometimes that best buyer is in a pool of buyers of pent-up demand that's waiting for your home to hit the market. And if you miss that, you probably won't do as well as you otherwise would. But we're also in a market now where there might not be pent-up demand waiting to buy your home or ready to buy your home.
Well, I mean, the first 2 weeks of 2026 for resales, because the days on market don't matter for new construction, just because it's always in there as a proposed listing. It's not even a thing I look at. But the first 2 weeks, 33% of the houses that have been listed in the city and the county went under contract in 7 days or less. Which for that third of the market, prices, they got what they expected. They set their price and they priced it to sell. Not aspirational, not based on what they needed or wanted to make, but based on what the data told them about their market.
So I got lucky this year, and I had the opportunity to list a home over $1 million on January 2nd. right?
Right when the market's dead, right?
Right, you think the market's dead anyway. What I think the market's doing is you've got a bunch of people who have taken a couple of weeks off for the holidays, agents including, and you have the opportunity to launch something on January 2nd and get exposed to online traffic and see how much that is, and this thing ran. And then I held it back till we had a point to have some showings in an open house, and it was thousands of views to lead to over 50 people at an open house, to being exposed to 5 or 6 agent-led showings. And between all of that, we found 4 people who loved that house and wanted to own it. We got 2 offers because those were the only 2 people who were ready to buy now. Sometimes you can list a home and your best buyer is drawn into the market because they have an online habit of searching real estate.
Most of my clients.
But now they have to go backwards to the point of what do I have to really do? I really want to make this move? Do I really want to sell my house? And it's just all, so not ready, willing, and able. You have to have all 3.
Yeah.
Happy January 2026. I'm Greg Slater with Nest Realty. You can call me at 434-981-6655 because we answer the phone.
I got a client recently because I answered the phone. Jim Duncan, Nest Realty. I write jimsnote.com. You can text or call me anytime, 434-242-7140. Ask us questions. We'd love to chat.